Hello guys! Today we're going to continue our discussion with geometry. Now remember, this is a review. We're going to talk about today the Pythagorean Theory. These are our vocabulary words that you should be somewhat familiar with. Base, leg of a triangle, hypotenuse, altitude of a triangle, Pythagorean theorem, Pythagorean triples, converse of Pythagorean, and right triangle. For today, let's focus on Pythagorean theory. Now, remember, the purpose of the Pythagorean theory really is to calculate distance between points. A lot of times the Pythagorean theorem is used at amusement parks when they're building these fancy designs and they have to have triangles in them. Always try to remember, how does math relate to real life? So I will be showing you some photos soon on how we relate geometry to real life things. But let's keep moving. Take a look at this triangle here. This is called a right triangle. Why? Because it forms a right angle. As you recall, a right angle is a 90-degree angle. So that's why we call this a right triangle. Here are the sides. I have identified them, side A, B, and C. This longest side is the hypotenuse on this particular right triangle. Remember, the hypotenuse is the longest side, and it's always opposite of the 90-degree. So wherever that 90-degree angle, the hypotenuse is going to be on the opposite side. Our formula for the Pythagorean theory is always a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, let's plug these in on this particular triangle. This is the same triangle. It's just that I placed the numbers here. So notice that A is a 4 and side B is 3. So if we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the a, which is here, the 4, you're going to square it and you will get 16. The 3 is squared, which is b, that is 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. So when you add 16 plus 9 together, you should get 25. You will get. Now the last step and the final step would always be to take the square root of that number. Square root of 25 is 5, which is a perfect square. So 5 is the answer. Now we're going to move on to a different one over here. So please, if you would zoom in on that, because I really want you to be able to see that. If you have to stand and move forward, if you can't get a good clear shot, that would be perfectly fine too. Notice that this right here is a right angle. Right here in this corner is opposite from this one because the triangle's turned a different way. The hypotenuse on this one is right here, which is 12. And then we have side A, which is a 6. But here we do not know what B is. So as we solve, we remember a squared plus b squared is c squared. A is 6, so 6 squared is 36. B squared, oh my goodness, we do not know what B is, so we just bring it down. But we know 12 squared. 12 squared is 144. Now, what do? We notice that I subtracted 36 from both sides. Who can tell me why I subtracted 36 from both sides?
To get the b squared by itself?
Very good. To get b squared by itself, we had to subtract 36. Once I subtract 36 from this, that's going to give me a 0 here. Bring down my b squared and take the square root. And so now we got to find, in order to get b squared, we got to find, in order to solve for b, we have to take the square root of 108. Now, in order to get 108, if you move over here, we've got to now simplify this radical. This should be a skill that's a review. This is simplification of this radical. So I've got to think of what two numbers multiplied together, two factors that will give me 108, 54 times 2. Now I'm going to break apart 54, 2 times 27. I see another one I can break apart, 27, which is 3 times 9. Now I can break this 9 apart, which is 3 times 3. Now I'm going to plug these in. How many 2's do I have? 1, 2, 1, 2. How many 3's do I have? 1, 2, 3. There they are. So that's 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. Now I'm going to break this apart because it just makes it easier to work it out. So now I'm going to do 2 times 2 times 3, which is going to give us 36. times the square root of 3. Why do I have 6 right here?
Because the square root of 36 is 6.
Because the square root of 36 is 6. And why did I leave my 3 here?
Because the square root of 3 is not a perfect square, so it remains a radical.
Perfect. So that would to finalize this, it would be equal to 6x the square root of 3. So I hope you learned from this today. I hope this was not I hope I made it more easy for you to understand the Pythagorean theory. Bye.